This week's talk is called How to Get Out of Your Own Way. And as always, I have a few quotes to begin with. The only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. That's Alan Watts. When you dance, your purpose is not to get to a certain place on the floor. It's to enjoy each step along the way. That's Wayne Dyer. And lastly, cherish your visions and your dreams, for they are the children of your soul and the blueprints of your ultimate accomplishments. And that is Napoleon Hill. So, dance. Cherish your visions. Let them be the blueprints of your ultimate accomplishments. So the first thing you need to know when you're learning how to get out of your own way is to know when you are in your own way. That's the starting point. So how do you know when you're in your own way? First, you think others are in your way. You think to yourself, if only they would get out of my way, then things would work out. If you are thinking anything or anyone is an obstacle to your accomplishment, you are the obstacle to your accomplishment. You are the one in your own way. That's the first sign. Second, thinking there's only one way to get things done. Thinking you're sure you're right that this is how they must get done for things to work out. If you have a thought that it must happen this way, you are in your own way. So get out of your way. Well, we're not there yet. Next, thinking there's only one path to success. This is the path. This is the way. This is how it must happen. If you think there's only one way to get things done, you're in your own way. Thinking others have to do something for you to be successful. If you think that others have to do something, like you're dependent upon anyone for your success, you are in your own way. For there is only one God. This presence, this power is within you. You have all the resources you need for every dream you have. So if you think you're lacking in any resource or that anyone else needs to do anything for you to be successful, you are in your own way. Thinking you know the steps that must take place and the order of those steps. I have heard so many people say, before I can be successful, first I must do this. Like, first I got to learn about this, or first I got to do this. If you think there is an order that must take place for your success, you are in your own way. Because ultimately, the saying goes, God laughs loudest when we make plans. And so there is no order, there is no plan, there is just power and present and possibility. And if we don't understand and live in that place of power, presence, and possibility, we are in our own way. So I had the opportunity to notice time and time again how I was getting in my own way as I put together the beginnings of YANA, this virtual center for spiritual living. I was positive that home office was in my way and would actually complain to some of my board members about how home office was the reason we weren't moving along better and faster. And lucky for me, I have a powerful enough board for them to say, wait a minute, no one is in your way. So if you're holding home office as in your way, then you're in your own way. You have to embody life being on your side before you can experience life being on your side. And as soon as I embodied that life was on my side, that home office was on my side, sure enough, everything fell into place. and YANA came into existence. Now, I would love to tell you that that only took once, that I got it. You know, my board said to me, you just need to get out of your own way, and this is all going to come together. And I went, yes, that's so. And then from that moment forward, I got out of my own way. Well, it wasn't exactly like that. The truth of the matter is they had to remind me time and time and time again with each step of the way. Because this is a spiritual practice. Ultimately, it becomes a spiritual knowing. But until it's a spiritual knowing, it's a spiritual practice. And so I had to be reminded a lot. And I had to dig in deep a lot into myself to constantly remind myself that if I thought that anyone out there was in the way of me putting together, I at one point was so angry at home office that I was ready to break away from Centers for Spiritual Living and be this independent. And I am so lucky that I had a board that could rein me in, and a lover and beloved who could rein me in and go, wait a minute, it can't be them. You know, because you preach this all the time, and it's true, don't I preach this all the time? That there's nobody out there, that we generate this ourselves. And luckily, I am surrounded by people who would grab a hold of me and go, wait a minute, you need a reminder right now. And I did. And so you may need a reminder very, very often. Whenever you think that something outside yourself is in your way, it is really you in your way. And that's when it's time to get out of your way. And when I did that, this center came together magnificently. But it took me time and time again, and took my partner and lover and my board to time and time again remind me that, hey, if you're holding these people or anyone out there in any other light except that they are God too, that they are on your side, then you are in your own way. And the good news about me is I could hear them. I took it in and listened each and every time. And so dropped my resistance, dropped being in my own way, and allowed this center to come into existence and grow to where we are viewed in 46 countries and viewed anywhere between 21 and 2,500 people a week. That couldn't have happened if I wasn't willing to listen to these beautiful people around me who constantly remind me that I had to get out of my own way. And so when you're out of your own way, you experience others as on your side. You experience life as on your side. And life is on your side. But you get to have that experience when you get out of your own way. Miracles occur when they're least expected. And I have seen that time and time again. Miraculous things happen in my life because I have been willing to get out of my own way. Now, sometimes getting out of your own way means you got to stop whatever it is you're doing that's getting in your way, even if you don't know what to do about what happens next. And stopping can be hard because, especially if you think you're scrambling to get something done, to stop and breathe and allow for a greater good to occur can take a lot of courage. So there was a time when I was living in Cincinnati where my work in Cincinnati came to an end. I had done my work there, I had done my job there, and it was now time for the next thing to occur because, besides other things, I had rent due. And so at first I started scrambling to find work, and then I said, wait a minute, I am not practicing what I preach here. And this was before I had come up with the idea for writing a book. This was before I had come up with the idea for YANA. I had no work, no prospects, and didn't know what was going to happen next. And so I decided to simply sit and do my inner work and take no outer action at all. And I sat each day and I took, well, the outer action I took was taking walks, going to yoga, making sure that my consciousness was clear that the next step would show itself as long as I stayed out of my way. This was a very scary time. My money was running out, rent was due, and I didn't know how any of this was going to come about. I just knew that it would because this is what I preached. So it was my time to prove it. And so I meditated, I walked, I took good care of my health, and I held a vision of my next step appearing. And then I woke up one day with the idea of writing a book called Cliff Notes on the Science of Mind textbook. And I started calling people and telling them about this idea. And people went crazy about it. And soon enough, someone said, I will pay you to write that book. And poof, my rent was paid. And then I woke up not more than a week later with the idea for this center. And I started calling people with my excitement about the first virtual center for spiritual living. And people said, I will support that and send you money. And poof, checks started showing up in the mail. Within 2 weeks, I had a board of directors. Within less than a month, I had put in the initial application to Centers for Spiritual Living. And we had a bank account, and I had money flowing. I don't believe any of that would have occurred if I wasn't willing to sit and know the truth about getting out of my own way. It was a scary time. I don't want to say that I wasn't scared. But beyond the fear, I knew the truth and held on to that truth. Letting go of those things that did not matter, holding on to the truth. Dr. Holmes tells us it seems as though behind evolution, there is an irresistible pressure compelling more, better, higher, and greater things. I knew that if I sat in that place of knowing that evolution was mine, that the next step would occur, that the irresistible pressure compelling more would bring about higher and greater things. And it has for me. This is totally worth believing. If you are feeling any resistance outside yourself, that resistance must be generating from inside yourself. That's the bottom line. It's worth taking note of, and it's worth holding on to the idea that you generate your life. And if things feel resistant, don't give up, but do surrender. Now, what's the difference? Giving up means you don't believe you actually deserve to have your dreams. Surrendering means you actually know you deserve to have your dreams, and there must be a higher and better way to go about getting them that you can't even imagine at this point. So you hold on to your dreams, but you let go of how they come about. You let go of the struggle. You let go of the resistance. When I stopped scrambling for work, when I stopped being urgent about raising money, that's when the money came. That's when the ideas came that generated the money. That's when the bigger dreams came for me. Nelson Mandela tells us there is no passion to be found in playing small, in settling for a life that is less than what you are capable of living. Do not settle for a life than you are capable of living. Know that there is a higher power on your side and get out of your way. Thank you. I love you.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.